if you have any questions, please put your hand up, and we'll discuss your questions. Okay. All right. So we just discussed the channel strategies, and there are 3 types of channel strategies. The first 2 are direct and indirect channel strategy, and also we discussed about hybrid channel strategy. Okay. We actually have the second concept that we also need to discuss in our placement strategy is the distribution coverage strategy, as we discussed briefly before. Okay. In the case of distribution coverage strategy, it is actually the decision about how many outlets that we want to cover. Okay, so if we draw the line, okay, we have what we call as on one end we have the intensive distribution strategy. On the other end we have we have exclusive distribution strategy, and in between we have what we call a selective distribution strategy. Okay, so in the case of the intensive distribution strategy, we actually distribute our products to as many wholesaler retailers as possible, because we want to penetrate the market quite high. Okay, so that is actually the intensive distribution strategy. Okay, now in the case of if you look at some product categories such as carbonated soft drink, or you can also look at snack category, for instance, they may distribute their product to non-conventional outlets such as the vending machine, for instance. So they adopt the intensive distribution strategy. Okay. And on the other hand, exclusive distribution strategy is adopted if the company only assigns one outlet, one reseller in a particular territory. Normally, they are actually the exclusive brands. Okay, and in between we have what we call as the selective distribution strategy, where they assign a few stores, a few outlets, because their products will not be purchased as frequent as the other product categories. Okay, so if you look at that, there's a tendency grocery products adopt in the intensive distribution strategy. Okay, and because of the nature of the business, again, the nature of the product, again, where the customers purchase their products on a regular basis. And selective distribution is normally adopted by shopping product, for instance, like consumer electronic or fashion apparel. The customers do not purchase this product as regular as grocery product. And in the case of exclusive, it's actually adopted by luxury item. Okay, so yes, there are the 2 decisions that you need to make for your marketing strategy, for your placement strategy. The first one is channel strategy, and the second one is distribution coverage strategy. Okay. All right, now let's move on to the next one, which is basically about the promotional mix. The word promotion actually comes from the word promovere, Latin word, which is basically about to move forward. In the context of marketing, when we move forward something to another party, that involves communication activities, because we need to convince the other parties. Okay, since it is in marketing context, the word promotion has become marketing communication. Okay, and I also observed that companies relabel their promotion department to be marketing communication department because of the acknowledgement of the nature of promotion being communication. Okay, now let's look at the word communication itself. It comes from the word communis, which is basically to create commonness. So when 2 parties are involved in the communication process, that means these 2 parties are actually engaged in the in creating commonness between the two. Okay, now that's marketing and communication. Okay, and I'm not going to discuss this in more details, basically. But if you look at that, that includes a number of elements in the communication process. Okay, in marketing communication process. Okay, so there are basically 5 tools in our promotion mix or marketing communication mix: advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, public relations, and direct marketing. Okay, although we have 5 tools, we need to convey consistent, clear, and compelling message of our company and or our brand. Therefore, we relabel marketing communication concept into integrated marketing communication. Okay, which is basically a unique blend of promotional tools or marketing communication tools. Okay, so hopefully by now you are aware that promotion has evolved to marketing communications, and since there are 5 tools, the 5 tools need to be consistent, clear, and compelling. Therefore, it has evolved to integrated marketing communication. Okay, all right. So let's have a look at each of them briefly. Okay. Advertising. Before we move on further, there's a bit of highlight here in terms of the new landscape of marketing communications. In the olden days, marketers would be the major owners, in quote unquote, of the media. So when we advertise, let's say 30 seconds TV advertising campaign, for instance, we have actually become the owner of that 30-second spot. And in today's marketing landscape, with the digital technology, we actually have empowered the customers, have empowered our consumers to communicate back to us. In fact, they do not only communicate back to us, they also communicate to the other consumers and potentially to our competitors, right? So that becomes more crowded as a result in terms of communication, okay? And bear in mind the word empowerment. We empower, the digital media has empowered our consumers in the communication process as well. Okay, so that actually has given more challenges for marketers in reaching our target market, as well as opportunities if we have the skills, if our company or organization has the skills of managing the digital media. Okay. All right, now advertising. Look, advertising is actually referring to the traditional term of communication where we reach masses of geographically dispersed buyers. That's the key that is one of the key characteristics of advertising. Therefore, advertising here actually refers to the traditional media such as TV, radio, magazine, billboards, okay, leaflets, flyers, okay, so that's advertising, right? So with advertising, again, since it is using the conventional approach, we actually design the message, we convey the message to the audience, all right? Now, for your social media, online advertising campaign, I would recommend you to put it under direct digital marketing campaign, not advertising campaign, because the logic behind that, the communication principle that they adopt is different to advertising campaign. In the case of advertising campaign, it is more like one-way direction when we advertise, okay? So that's advertising. The personal selling is a different method. It is if advertising actually focuses on mass media, where we use a number of mass media such as TV, magazine, radio, and so on and so forth. It is actually depersonalize the message. In the case of personal selling, we personalize the message. We get someone to explain the products, the benefits, the service, and so on and so forth for the customers. That is actually a big upside from the personal selling team perspective. Okay, now personal selling actually is actually labeled differently by different companies. Some companies may label them as the sales force, salesperson, or anything related to sales management. such as account team, account management team, account executive, marketing executive, or sales engineer, okay, depending on the company's policy, okay. In the olden day, the sales management team or the personal selling team actually focuses more on sales, making the sales, all right? They're doing sales job. Now, in today's business landscape, sales job actually requires us to build the relationships as well with the customers, because we actually understand that we need to sustain the business with the customers. We may be able to make one sale, but we want to ensure that we can sustain the business with the customers. Okay. And sales promotion is not a tool. Basically, the purpose of advertising, if we refer to advertising, we actually use advertising to create the awareness, to create the trial, to build the image, and also to influence the behavior of the customers. All right. So not necessarily our advertising campaign generates sales. Right. You can also ask yourself, after you watch a new iPhone advertising campaign, for instance, would you straight away go to Apple Store and buy iPhone? Probably not. And after you watch a new campaign of Unilever's Lynx deodorant or Unilever's new detergent, for instance, okay, would you go to the store and buy that? Probably not. All right. Therefore, we label advertising campaign as to create the pre-sale condition. It does not sell yet. It may not sell the product yet, but it creates what we call as the pre-sale condition, which is basically about creating the awareness, image, and also the influencing the behavior. So when the customer's need has arrived, the customers can retrieve from their awareness, from the image that we built, to trigger sales, all right, for our product or service. Okay, so that's advertising. Okay, now because of the nature of advertising, which is basically building longer term, if you like, longer term business goal in terms of building the brand, building the brand equity, and so on and so forth. Okay. And we also face the fact, as a marketer, we also face the fact that the top management team also requires us to deliver the short-term goal, which is basically about the financial results. So we also need to consider sales promotional activities. That actually, which is basically now in the growing trend when it comes to using promotional tools. Okay, so again. There are several reasons why promotional tools have gained stronger momentum recently in markets like Australia, because of the pressure to meet the financial goals, not only the long-term goal. We also face a more competitive market. Okay, in the olden days, the budget of marketing campaign, most of the budget of marketing campaign went to the advertising campaign. All right, but in today's business landscape, we also need to consider the sales promotional activities. Okay, and sales promotion has enjoyed a lot of support from marketers as well in terms of the creativity. Marketers have become more and more creative, if you like, to attract the customers using sales promotional tools like coupons, contests, premiums, and so on and so forth. Right. In saying that, I would also like to give you a heads up that some promotional activities may be a challenge for us to build to maintain our brand equity, because if you give the price discount, there is a big debate in terms of whether we are damaging the brand or not. Okay. Public relations, which is basically about building the news stories or news value of our brand or our company through events, sponsorships, news release, and so on and so forth. Look, public relations, in my observation, may be underused in markets like Australia, but actually it has a great potential to reach a target audience who have the tendency of avoiding advertising campaign and also salespeople. Okay, so you can also ask yourself, when you watch TV, either MasterChef or whatever it is, when it comes to advertising, what would you do? You may switch the channel, or you may go to the bathroom. Okay, so and public relations actually may be able to fill that gap, because in regards to public relations, we get someone else who have the credibility to write on our behalf. Okay, so that's public relations basically. Some companies are quite good in terms of managing their PR activities, and some other companies probably need to work harder. Now, direct marketing is interesting. It is in growing demand, actually. Direct digital marketing is in growing demand. If you look at the previous tools, advertising, for instance, they adopt the traditional concept of communication, where the marketers create the message and the marketers will send the message for the customers. Direct marketing is different. Direct digital marketing is different. Direct digital marketing is basically marketing activities that we conduct on the basis of one-to-one communication with the customers, all right, with non-target audience, all right. Therefore, to ensure that we can communicate to the non-target audience, we need to ensure that we have the database of our customers, okay. Now, the customers that come into our database list should be the customers who have given us the opt-in list. So they should have given the consent for us to communicate. Otherwise, we can't do that. Okay. So look, again, in the context of communication principle, direct digital marketing works differently to advertising campaign. In regards to direct digital marketing, the customers are basically looking for us. Okay, because we publish something that may be relevant to them. Okay, so they do the Google search, and that leads to our website or Facebook page, or any posting that like Twitter, for instance, that we have generated, okay, through our direct digital marketing campaign. Okay, so that works differently. Okay, so again, in the case of advertising, think about TV. You create the TV commercial campaign, you launch it. That means kind of direct one-way communication. But in regards to direct digital marketing, you actually get the consumers to look for you. Okay. Think about if you want to fly from Sydney to Melbourne, for instance. The first thing that you might do is to go to your Google search box and type something to get the most efficient airfare. All right, and that means you'll be led to certain websites. Okay, so that's a big difference. That is a massive difference in terms of communication principles to advertising campaign. Okay, again, the advertising campaign that we talked before actually adopts what we call as the conventional approach, while these guys here, the direct digital marketing, actually uses the a different approach to build one-to-one relationship with the customers. Okay, right. Look, there are a few things in terms of that I'd like to discuss briefly with you in terms of direct digital marketing, which is in growing demand recently. Okay, the first one is actually about the benefit. Okay, the benefits. Why is it in growing trend in terms of direct and digital marketing? Because direct digital marketing offers benefits for both customers and marketers. From the buyer's perspective or from the customer perspective, it offers convenience, easy, private. Okay, it also offers access to wealth of products. We can research, okay, the products before we make purchase, and it's more interactive and immediate. Okay, especially in today's business landscape, a lot of companies offer live chat to offer interactivity with the customers. Okay. And in the case of, and for the marketers, it also offers more opportunities to build the relationship with the customers, because we can personalize the message for the customers. Okay, we can personalize it. We can say, hey, dear John, thanks a lot for coming to our store last time. I would sincerely apologize because the product that you're looking for is not available. Now, I can assure you that the product is back on the store. And if you bring this message or this, if you tell us these numbers, I will make sure that our team will provide you with certain surprise for you, for instance. Okay, so that is more engaging because it is personalized to the customers. Okay. It is actually a low cost in terms of reaching the customers. And you can also imagine that when we set up our online presence, actually, we actually build our distribution to a larger target audience, target market. Okay, without us building the physical store, for instance. Okay. Give us the flexibility in terms of adjusting the prices and also program. We can adjust our website or the content of websites, basically. Okay, so because of these benefits, it has driven, it has become an increasing trend in terms of using direct and digital marketing. Okay. There are 4 things that we do in terms of digital, online, or internet marketing presence. In terms of building digital, online, or internet marketing presence, the first one is to create a search engine optimized website. So we create our website, make it more interactive, make it more attractive for customers from content perspective. We post the video as well to be more interactive, right? To help us boosting our search results. Okay, so that's the search engine optimized website. Now, we expect when we create websites that our website to appear on the top of the list when customers search, type in the Google search box. In some instances, we may not be able to get it organically. Therefore, we may want to engage with the search engine marketing, such as Google AdWords, for instance, or by advertising Google advertising as a result to help us boosting the search engine marketing results. Okay. The third thing that companies may do is to set up the online social network presence. With the social network or social media, the strong benefit is basically it is available. The platform is available. We don't need to create one. But the downside of that is that it is not our own platform. In fact, if you sign up to Google, Google's business model actually declares that anything that you post belongs to Google. I was referring to Facebook. If you sign up to Facebook, for instance, anything that you post, your photos, your music, anything you're posting belongs to Facebook. Okay, so that's one thing that they have been debating in America, actually, from the privacy perspective. And the fourth step in terms of online marketing presence is to use email. Right? Again, anything that we use in here, we need to adhere to the privacy principles. In Australia, we have an extensive privacy legislation in Australia, so we can only send the message to the customers in our opt-in list. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions so far? It is a pricing strategy, okay? And when they change the price, of same product week after week, okay, they actually adopt what we discuss as the promotional pricing strategy. So they do price promotion, okay? Yes, I remember the key feature of price promotion strategy is they adjust for temporary reason. Okay, so for 1 week, for instance, they reduce the price of certain products 20% or 50% sometimes. So with one price, you can get 2 packs instead. So, but that one is for temporary. Okay, that is the key feature. Yes, it is a pricing strategy, and we call it as the price promotion strategy. Okay, remember the price adjustment strategy. Please select one of them. for your pricing decision. Okay, does it answer your question? Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Right. Look, this is another channel that we can use under mobile marketing, which is quite interesting actually. There is a couple of video links that I post in here. When you have chance at home, I would recommend you to watch these two video clips. They are quite interesting actually. So again, the traditional boundary between marketing and sales has become gray area because of the presence of direct digital marketing using digital technologies. Okay, in the olden days, marketing department manages the relationship with the customers, whilst the sales department manage the transaction with the customers. All right. With digital technologies, actually, these boundaries have blurred, basically has become gray area, because building relationship with the customers, where you may recall that in the first webinar, we said that the essence of marketing is to build relationship. Now, that term relationship in today's business landscape has evolved to include transaction as well. Okay, so relationship is not only, yes, we know that we have the good image, we have the awareness, we have good image, all right, like the olden marketing wise, but relationship also means we include the transaction, the potential to get the transaction, right? So the traditional boundaries have become really unclear between sales and marketing, because the marketing campaign through website, for instance, mobile marketing, another tool, okay, may also generate revenues. Okay, right, right, guys. The next ones I'd like to discuss briefly with you is the extended marketing mix variables, the services marketing mix variables. If you depending on the companies, depending on the Donald B that you design, either as in the confectionery category or as in specialty store. Okay, if it is in specialty store, I would recommend you to analyze these extended services marketing mix variables. Okay, there are 3 extra marketing mix variables: people, process, and physical evidence. Okay, people actually refer to the staff, the human aspects of the products or services. Okay, remember, these 3 variables are basically designed for services marketing. Okay, so they include the frontline staff, the support staff. Okay, in the case of store, you can also include the sales assistant, the staff in the doing the cash register for the customers. Okay, the staff helping the merchandise, for instance, the staff managing the logistics to ensure that merchandise is prepared for the customers to purchase. Otherwise, our customers may be angry with us if the product is not available on time. Okay, that also includes the anything related to people management, such as the culture, customer service culture, or the appearance of our staff, the uniform of our staff, the training that we give them. Okay, the attitude that we expect our people to deliver when they deal with the customers, for instance. Okay, so the key word in people is basically the staff involved in the customer service delivery. And the next one's process, which is basically about the system and procedure to deliver the service for the customers. That includes anything starting from the customers placing the order until the service is delivered for the customers. Okay, including the interaction with the customers, payment system, and so on and so forth. Okay. And the next one is the physical evidence, which is basically about tangible and intangible cues. So the customers receive symbols that the service is delivered for them, okay, throughout the entire journey. All right. So if you look at the physical store, for instance, you can compare stores such as David Jones and the other stores. They have different ambience in the store. Okay, they have different layout, they have different window display, they have different ways to design their own brand logo in the store, for instance. That helps building the physical evidence for the customers. Okay. All right. So that's basically the topics for today. Yes, it is. It is part when you see the signboard of the store brand. Yes, it is helping to it helps creating the physical evidence. Okay, you can compare the David Jones and the other store brand, the other store brand name, basically. Yeah, does it answer your question, Simon? Okay, right. Yes. Any other questions, guys? Okay. Thanks a lot, Simon. Pablo, how about you, mate? Any questions from you? Okay. Thanks a lot. Hey, look, the next session, in the next session, I would like to discuss the, I think it's next week, I would like to discuss the third assessment, but I'm going to post something in